What's up, guys? Welcome to the first edition of my brand new MMA podcast. And today we're going to be talking about an upcoming fight, card. You got Calvin Kattar and Arnold Allen at the top of the card. I think that's going to be a great fight. You got Tim Means, Max Griffin in the co-main, which, kind of mid, let's be honest. And then a bunch of no names in some other places, but you know what? We got some good fights actually lower down the card. Khalil Roundtree and Dustin Jacoby. That's a striker's delight there. Somebody's definitely getting knocked out. Phil Hawes and Roman Dolidze. Roman Dolidze broke Chris Dawkins' eye socket with a knee to the head. That shit was brutal, folks. It was brutal. The sound of that, you couldn't pay me enough money. Also, Phil Hawes, who knocked out Deron Winn. That was a one-sided beating in his last fight. He just beat the dog shit out of poor Deron Winn, who looked like a lightweight in there. Maybe a bantamweight. Come on now. He was like, it wasn't competitive at all. Now the main event, Calvin Kattar and Arnold Allen. I like Arnold Allen. I think he's a great fighter. He's got a well-rounded game, good takedown defense. He's a boxer, very fast hands, 18-1, outstanding record. But with that being said, this is the door right here. Calvin Kattar has been through the wars. He's been in there with anybody and everybody. He's eating shots off of the hardest punchers in the division, and he's lived to tell about it. Now, is that a good thing? As Arnold Allen said, he's got some miles on the clock. Calvin Kattar has some miles on the clock, and that's a fact. But that's also, he's going to be there. Like, he's not going away. He was eating full power shots from Josh Emmett, which, by the way, a side note, that Josh Emmett, Calvin Kattar fight, a lot of people thought that maybe Calvin Kattar won that fight. And I could see it maybe because he won the last round, and maybe even the fourth round, if you want to say that. But if you go back and rewatch that fight, the first 3 rounds of that fight, Calvin Kattar was behind. As a matter of fact, if you go back and watch the fight, listen in the corner, in the second round, at the end of the second round, his corner says to him, "What are you doing? You need to wake up. You're giving it away, essentially. You're not winning the fight when your corner is telling you to wake up." You know what I'm saying? So I just hope when people are talking that robbery talk and all of that other stuff, that they know that they should go back and rewatch the fight, because it's just a fact, folks. There's a difference between robberies and close fights, and I felt that Josh Emmett won the fight because Calvin Kattar gave up the first 3 rounds of that fight. He cannot do that against Arnold Allen, because if he gives it to him, Arnold Allen's going to take it. He's going to take it fast and quick. And if you get behind on that guy, there's no coming back. He's hungry. He's young. He's a lion. But this is the door to the upper levels of the division. And he's a young guy who hasn't been in there with this caliber of guy ever. And I just watched Sean Brady last weekend run into Bilal Muhammad. That was the door to the upper level of that division, and you saw how that went for Sean Brady. He wasn't ready for the step up. So the question is Arnold Allen ready for the step up? I'm gonna say no, and here's why. Because I listened to Arnold Allen's interview on Errol Hawani's show, and he actually said that he didn't even watch the fights last weekend. And that's okay. Not everybody watches every fight that takes place. But I mean, he sounded like he wasn't even interested in that. And that just tells me a couple of things about him. That's a red flag for me. If I'm betting on you, I need you to be, a hardcore. You know what I'm saying? I need you to live, eat, sleep, breathe fighting. Period. It's just it gives me more confidence in you that you're here for it all. Because you're gonna run into that guy who is up to date with everything that's going on and is watching every fight that's happening, and he sees that little thing that guy did, and I need to go in the gym and try that out. That's absolutely real. When Anderson Silva front kicked Vitor Belfort in the face, nobody had ever seen it. You know what everybody did that Monday morning? When they got to the gym, they were all practicing their front kicks, okay? Because they saw it. They didn't miss it. They weren't like, I wasn't even watching the fights over the weekend, Who even cares about, Anderson Silva? Like, that would be a pretty, that would worry me. And I got those kind of vibes from Arnold Allen. Like, he doesn't really care that much, about, like, other people's fights. I'm sure his coaches watch tape, and maybe he would even watch his tape, but he wasn't watching the biggest fight card of the last few months, so that tells me everything I need to know about Arnold Allen. But I will say he's got very fast hands. I'm not putting $1 on Arnold Allen. I'm not putting $1 on Calvin Kattar because he's on a losing streak, folks. His last Well, okay, I'll take that back. He's not on a losing streak. He did lose his last fight, but he beat Giga Chikadze before that. But before that, he got the dog shit beat out of him by Max Holloway. I mean, that was a life-changing beating. Guys aren't the same, after that. But he's a stone cold warrior, so I like him in this fight. Next fight is that I like on the card, because I'm gonna skip the no-name guys. Let's be honest. Dustin Jacoby and Khalil Roundtree. Khalil Roundtree Jr. I think I've been hearing people talk about him retiring maybe after this. I don't know if that's true, but I mean, he's on a run. Knocked out Carl Roberson, knocked out Modestas Bukauskas, in back-to-back fights. He's been a little up and down. Before that he lost 2 fights, so he's been up and down, but he's always exciting. He's coming to kill you. Brutal guy. But Dustin Jacoby is on a run. All right, he's beating everybody up. He got his takedown defense, where it needs to be. So, and nobody's shooting for takedowns in this one. Somebody's going out, folks. But I like, because I'm gonna make predictions here, because folks don't really be making predictions like that. Let's be honest. Folks be sitting on the fence like, I could see it going either way. Because they don't want to sound, they don't want to look dumb, when they're wrong. You know what? But I'm going to have the courage of my convictions here. Some huevos, okay? I'm going to come out with my conviction. I'm going to say that Dustin Jacoby is going to beat Khalil Roundtree. He's going to give it up. Next fight I like on this card, Phil Hawes and Roman Dolidze. Now, Phil Hawes, like I said, he beat up Deron Winn, beat the crap out of him in his last fight. It wasn't even, I don't know who made that fight. Probably somebody who didn't like Deron Winn. That's who made the fight. Roman Dolidze, brutal finisher. The guy's a monster. What he did to Chris Daukaus is, and Chris Daukaus is coming back after getting his face broken, pretty quick. So, shout out to him. Or is that Kyle? Is it Kyle Daukaus I'm thinking of? I don't know. Either way, oh no, it is. It was Kyle Daukaus. It was Kyle Daukaus that he knocked out. I was thinking Chris. Chris is his big brother. He got knocked the fuck out too. I don't know. They're both getting knocked out. So it's kind of hard, to tell them apart sometimes. But in this fight, I actually like this is tough because the odds is minus 170 Hawes, plus 145 for Roman Dolidze. So that means Hawes is a slight favorite here. And you know what? I'm actually gonna go with Phil Hawes. I think his striking's better. Delitse's not gonna be able to take him down. He's got great wrestling, so he's gonna have to strike with him. You're probably in trouble. Could get gnarly. So we're gonna take Phil Hawes in that one. Andre Arlovsky and Marcus Pejao de Lima. The human thumb. I call him de Lima. He's a bald head guy. He looks like a human thumb. Who knows with that one? We'll just go with de Lima, the younger guy. I love Andre though. He's always a great fighter. Chase Hooper coming back. He looked great in his last fight. He's fighting some no-name guy that we've never heard of. Steve Garcia. Like, come on, man. But this is a perfect fight for him because he's developing, he's getting better, he's growing into his man body. So I like Chase Hooper here for sure. Probably by submission. He actually got a TKO in his last fight. Chase Hooper. He's definitely looked better. He's getting better. He's growing into his man body. I'd like to see him in a year or two what this guy's gonna look like, man. He's gonna be a problema. All right, that's it for this card, and thank you for tuning in for my first episode, and I'm gonna be posting a lot more. This is Anthony, and I'm